Hello, everybody. Um, I have now decided to create a Xbox EU tier list. Now, this is mainly because other people have made tier lists, and no one has ever really recognised Xbox EU, which is understandable. We never really used to post clips on YouTube outside of Zdan, basically. However, the server has a lot more to offer than Zdan, and the people that you see right now in this list is only like maybe 1/20th, 1/30th possibly of the names that I could put in here. Um, Especially back in the day, but the server is now basically dead, and I would there's still some very good players that play on there, but many of the true greatest players that I've actually ever seen play the game no longer play. And if they do hop on now and then, it's extremely casual. They don't do anything basically on the game. They could if they chose to, but they play the game very casual now. And I just want to bring some recognition to some of the greatest players that I've ever played with. And like I say, there could be many, many more added to this list. And if your name is not on the list, do not take any offence to it, because if someone mentions your name, you'll be recognised basically. There has been so many great players on Xbox EU, and I would like my fellow Xbox EU players to actually comment and actually help me with different names on here and give the players some recognition, because they do definitely deserve it. Because I'm not going to include everybody on the list. There's just too many. So if your name's not here, I do apologise, and you should be on the list. It's just there's so many people. So please, Xbox EU players, comment some other names so that people can actually read the comment section and go, oh yes, he was a good player, etc., etc. I'm basically doing this for Xbox EU to give us some recognition. But anyway, a bit more in detail about what the actual list is, because the reasoning for where I've placed people is specific to certain reasons. This list is basically a consistency over the years. The mark of a truly phenomenal player for me is someone who doesn't rely on meta hopping, doesn't rely on fat carry proc sets, etc., etc. Each and every single patch, they have been dominant. No matter the struggle, no matter the circumstances, they've stayed true to never being carried, and they absolutely dominate regardless of the situation, regardless of the patch. There's been some patches where Nightblade's being weak, some patches where Soak's being weak, DK. It doesn't matter. If you still absolutely dominate regardless for years on end, right, or for a while, this is basically where I'm going to place you. The list would be different if I said right now, like in today's meta, I could a lot of the S plus, S plus is different, but the S, A, and the S, A plus, and A, they could be interchangeable depending on the patch, basically, because there's some of these players that did extremely well for like a year, 2 years, you know, but I need more than that to be categorized in the S plus. But anyway, I'll explain. But the first person that I'm going to mention is Shox RH. I actually have never seen a better Mag DK play ESO. He was he basically, if anyone mentioned Mag DK on Xbox EU, you automatically thought of Shox RH. I know him personally, and I've played with him for many, many years. And I can't. This guy dominated in every single field, regardless of the patch, and he never actually used to put on carry sets either. He used to stay true to never being carried. Yeah, sometimes he might chuck on, just for a little bit of fun, a carry set in open world, but in a duel, he used to slam every single fucking player for years. You know, his mechanically flawless open world. Granted, he only played Mag DK. He did play Mag Warden for maybe a month, and he actually did quite well on that. But he is the Mag DK of Xbox EU. And some of the things that I've actually seen this guy do is beyond my comprehension. And I've actually spoke to him before about getting some of his old clips on my channel, because he was never bothered about posting clips, which is quite a shame. Won numerous dueling tourneys, did group play, smashed in BGs. I actually can't rate this guy highly enough. There's a lot more I could say about Shox RH, but he will forever be the Mag DK on Xbox EU. Period. But anyway, I don't want the video to go on too long. But yeah, there's Shox RH. You cannot deny he was the best Mag DK on Xbox EU. Next one, Andy. This guy, he used to play in a group called Origins with a lot of the old OGs here. And he was a phenomenal player back in the day. He used to do everything. There was nothing that he couldn't do, basically. And he took a break from ESO. Then he came back. I think about 2 years ago, he came back. And he started to play with me. And mechanically, this player was he was also flawless. Mechanically, he knew exactly what to do, and on multiple classes, by the way. He's a Stam DK main, and then he started to play Templar. Andy was mechanically flawless. I could always since I've played with so many great players, I've noticed the very subtle differences between them all. I would say Andy is very risky how he plays, but when it comes off, I just go, wow, like, how the hell have you done that? And then I would say the difference with Shox is a lot more foreseeing. He would have a lot more foresight. He could be a little bit risky, but he was a little bit more calculated in when to do certain things, unlike Andy. However, when Andy's risks used to come off, absolutely unbelievable. And he's done it for years, right from the beginning of Xbox EU to now, present day. He's done it in BGs, open world. He's never really duelled a great ton, but mechanically flawless, and he would be a phenomenal duelist if he wanted to do that, but he's not really bothered about it. Either way, he has had 1v1s in Cyrodiil, and he's never lost one. So there's Andy. I could say a lot more about Andy, but I don't want the video to be too long. And I will also link Andy's YouTube down in the description below, because he has some very good clips on there. And come to PC, mate. I've told you to come to PC. Just do it. Next S Plus player, Trims. He's had a few different names over the years, and for all those years he has also been he has absolutely smashed fucking the server as well. When I've played with him, he plays like he is in a 1vx situation when he's in a 2vx, but he is so good in a 1vx situation that it makes no difference. Like, you can just leave him alone to do what he needs to do, and you'll just get a fat 2vx out of nowhere. You know, like, he is also mechanically flawless. He is brilliant. He also plays numerous classes, and I've gotten some big fucking fat X's with Trims as well. At the end of the day, the only thing I can say about these players is that they're absolutely phenomenal. You don't want to fight these players. You know, like, for years, the players in this list, right, they were the absolute most feared players in Cyrodiil. The Zergs used to physically have to band together to try and take them down. You know, they were the most feared people in Cyrodiil. It's basically all I can say about these players. They're fantastic. Trims, I always felt that his Stamsork was his best character, though. His DK was also fantastic, and I think at one point he was the best Stam DK. Just like Andy. Andy at one point was the best Stam DK. You know, like, there's so many players. Even there's some players in S and A plus and A that at one point at certain patches was the best Stam DK. You know, like, it's very interchangeable. But like I said, this is like a consistency list. But I've always rated Trims' Stamsork because I've played with that the most, and I've got a bigger insight on that. And he was so good on that Stamsork, man. Really good. So Trims S plus. No one can deny that Trims is in S plus. Orange Shark. Now, not many people actually know about this guy because he used to literally never clip anything. Like, nothing. He played this game so casually and still did fucking amazingly. It actually blew me mind. And I've played with him, but not as much as Shocks or Andy. Because Orange Shark never really used to actually go into Cyrodiil as much as the rest. But every single time that he entered Cyrodiil, like, fat groups couldn't take him down. He used to X them, you know, like he was on a Mag Warden as well when Mag Warden got nerfed. When all the major and minor buffs got nerfed, it severely hit Mag Warden. And it never... Yes, it made it more difficult for him, but he still smashed fucking players. Like, I can't say... I can't... He was just fantastic. Especially in a 2vx situation. You could always rely on him to have your back, give you a heal, focus the right player, you know. And he's just unknown, and this is why I'm doing the video, because I need to bring some light upon these players. They are mechanically flawless. I actually do wish Orange Shark clipped what he did. Like if I actually might ask him to send some of his clips over. That's if he actually clipped them, because some of them were just outrageous. I've seen him do 1v9s, 1v10s, etc. And it's a shame that no one actually took notice of him. He's probably the only one in this list where people from Xbox EU would go, huh? Who's Orange Shark? But that's literally only because he never used to clip anything or post anything, because he was just so casual at the game. But take it from me, that guy was absolutely phenomenal. So can't speak highly enough about him. Now on to Dragon Sergeant. Dragon Sergeant was, I would say, the longest standing best Stam DK on Xbox EU. I think there has been some absolutely phenomenal Stam DKs, like Andy, Trims, Marcus, Kamuri for example. But I think Dragon Sergeant stood the test of time, and I would say he was the best Stam DK. And I will also link his YouTube channel down in the description below. I actually never played with him on Xbox EU, but the clips that this guy's got is absolutely outrageous, and I've actually physically watched Dragon's gameplay. And he knows exactly what he's doing, and he stood the test of time. And he was also a phenomenal duelist. Forgive me, Dragon, but I think you might have won a duel in Tawny. Please, tell me if you have. I think you have. But he used to duel a lot and used to smash fucking people's heads in as well. And I've actually been playing with him on PC, and my next video is actually going to be a fat 2vx with him. And he's also got a few clips on PC, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. That's for him to upload and let everyone go, wow, this fucking guy. So I'll link his YouTube down below, and please watch his clips that he's going to upload, because he joined PC, and I can't believe what he's actually achieved on there. Well, actually can believe, in all honesty. these players that are on these lists are some of the best players I've ever witnessed on the game. So it does surprise us, but it doesn't really. So yes, Dragon Sergeant stood the test of time. Phenomenal Stam DK. And he's also now playing different classes. He ventured out to play different ones. So well done, Dragon, on that for being S+. You stood the test of time. Marcus Justicia. A player I have never actually played with. He's also OG of Xbox EU. Played numerous different classes. Probably at one point was the best Stam DK. Probably at one point was the best Stam Sork. He stood the test of time. 1vx'd, dueled, BGs, anything. This guy could do it, right? You know what it is? Out of all the players in this list, he got accused of using actual macros the most out of any player. And I don't know how true that is or not, but when you watch this guy's gameplay, every tiny little thing, even when animation cancelling was nerfed, everything was being animation cancelled to the quickest degree. I have never seen anything like it, and he used to smash Zergs. I'm not sure if he used to 2vx a lot, but he used to 1vx a lot. And he used to do BGs a lot. And I spoke to Shocks about this before. a while ago, and he said that people used to think that Marcus was the biggest menace in terms of a dueler on the server, like ever. He could just clap you in like 5 seconds, which is why people used to claim that he used to use Cronus. I don't know how true that is, but at the end of the day, he stood the test of time and used to smash fuck out of everyone. So, well done to Marcus. And I will also link your YouTube channel in the description below. And please start uploading more, mate. And like, I know you're French, and I don't know if you can speak English, but please start uploading more videos, because Xbox EU does need some more recognition. And I know you've got some fat clips stored on your Xbox hard drive, and you need to start uploading some more, so please upload more. I thoroughly enjoy watching clips, and if you upload some, I will definitely watch them. And I've also fought Marcus. Phenomenal. Like, absolutely brilliant. I think, especially over the years, because I've never actually played with him. And you can tell he knows what he's doing. Anyway, the next player. This guy... by the way, the S Plus is in no particular order. Now, this person here, Jay Sloozy. This guy... There's no words to physically describe how outstanding this player was. All these players I've mentioned before, they were like the GOATs of their respective classes, you know. No one was touching shocks on a MagDK, you know. But Jay Sloozy, I would probably say, I saw him on a MagShawk a few times, but literally every single class, right? He would probably either S or S plus on every single class, you know. And he did it for years as well. He was a MagDK main, and him and Shocks used to have a great rivalry, you know. Shocks actually said that the only MagDK to ever really push for Shocks to like be to be where he is, he is the best MagDK ever. The only MagDK to ever push him to be that good was Jay. Jay was a MagDK man. He could actually go toe to toe with Shocks in 1v1. Like, I would say, I never witnessed it, but I've actually spoken to Shocks about this. Jay was very close to being even in a 1v1 with Shocks on MagDK v MagDK. Shocks used to tell me that they used to have like 2-hour-long duels, like back in the day. You know, this is how good Jay was as well. Like, and he played multiple classes. You know, I would still say though, even though Jay was fantastic at open world on a MagDK, I still think Shocks got the better of him in open world. The 1vx's and the 2vx's that Shocks did, and he did it for a longer time. You know, Jay quit a little bit before Shocks, and Shocks literally he could literally hop on right now and smash everyone's fucking head in, you know. So, but I don't think Jay could do that now. But for a very, very, very long time, Jay was basically the pinnacle of all classes. He used to hop on a Stam Nightblade and smash everyone's head in 1vx, just like the click of his fingers. He used to go on a Stam Sork and do it, Templar and do it. You know, he's probably the only player that could do this. I've never actually... his peak was... I never really witnessed it. I've actually fought him once, and it was one of the hardest fucking fights I've ever had in my life. That Stam DK was nasty, and he was also a phenomenal Stam DK. I can't speak highly enough about Jay, and literally no one will disagree with this. Jay, one of the greatest players to ever play ESO ever, and I needed to shed some light on this. I don't know what he's doing now, which is a shame. He would be. I still think he would do very well now if he still played. And that's for S plus. Like I said, I could rant all day about these players, but these players stood the test of time, and they could 1vx at will. They could 2vx at will. Mechanically flawless. They were the most feared people in Cyrodiil, in my opinion, for the longest period. And that's just my opinion. Like I said, if the list wasn't about consistency, the list would be different. Like there's some players in S, A plus, and A that would be interchangeable depending on how you would view things. But these players never really used to run carry either, and they still dominated more than the other players here. So let's get into Wolverine. Wolverine, I was toying to put him in S plus, but because he was that Stam Nightblade of his was just, back in the day, for a long time, he was just outstanding. Like really, he was the best Stam Nightblade, like fucking for a long time on Xbox EU. The reason that I am not putting him in S plus is because it's not a matter of skill. It's not that. It's a matter of because he just refused to run cloak in open world, and he used to die because of it. I was like, just run cloak, Wolverine, please. And it's not just that he refused to. He used to physically nerf him, to nerf himself so that he could claim, "Oh, I'm not being carried," which I completely respect. I say the same, but I would say in the last two years or something, Wolverine not in a duel but in open world, he wasn't really doing much, and he started to play PvE, which is why I'm putting him in S, and that's no disrespect to him because he if anyone mentions Stam Nightblade on Xbox EU, he is the Stam Nightblade, and I think he's very casual now, which is part of the reason why in the last 1 or 2 years he wasn't doing the greatest in open world in comparison to his older self. I am comparing Wolverine to Wolverine here. I don't think there's any Stam Nightblade that could beat Wolverine's legacy on Xbox EU. Basically, I think if he didn't go casual. If he wasn't as disinterested in the game and he wasn't playing PvE, you could put him in S plus because he was just absolutely phenomenal for a very long time. So that's Wolverine. I've never really played with Wolverine, but again, I could be completely wrong. If other people have different opinions, please tell me. My opinion is not final. Everyone has different opinions, and I can't make a perfect list. Next guy, Mutlakino. Everyone called him Mutlak. This fucking guy was nasty, man. Nasty. Again, if if he was more consistent, he would be an S plus. He would be an S plus, no doubt. Um, he played numerous classes to an extremely high level. I don't actually know what his main was, to be fair. But he was absolutely phenomenal. And in a 1v1 as well, he could easily beat anyone as well. I can't really say much about Mutlak. I'm gonna have to basically allow other players who actually played with him to speak for me. All I know is that I've fought him a few times, and he is no fucking slouch. He is nasty, bro. Like if he was more if he still played, and he was a little bit more consistent, I would put him in S plus, no doubt. Zidane. Zidane. Nearly everybody knows Zidane. Absolutely phenomenal Magnite Blade, right? That's his main. That's his fucking baby. You know, the most recognised player on Xbox EU, and he's done very well for himself. And especially in the later stages of Xbox EU, he started to gain a lot more recognition. The only reason he is not in S plus is because these other players did it for a long time. They did it for a long time. It's not a matter of skill. These players here, it's not a matter of skill. It's a matter of standing the test of time. Like these players have. Zidane can also play every single class to a high degree, mainly that Magnite Blade. However, this might be a controversial opinion. I do not think he was the best Magnite Blade to grace Xbox EU. Personally, the guy below him, Clinch. I have witnessed feats of greatness with this guy. So, however, Zidane. Again, these players would be interchangeable with S plus if they were a little bit if they did it longer. It's not a matter of skill here. But I'll also link Zidane's YouTube channel. I will allow his fucking clips to speak for itself. You another year, 2 years time, S plus player. Easy. Plus, he's done it on multiple servers, so that also goes from. Clinch. Actually know this guy. Sexy Irish accent. I would say that Clinch was the most consistent Magnite Blade on Xbox EU that stood the test of time in being the best. That Magnite Blade was just, oh man, again, this is not a matter of skill. This is a matter of just being consistent. But he was mind blowing back in the day, for years as well. That Magnite Blade. He actually won on Magsock too and did quite well. But a lot of other players could. Clinch could one shot you, on that Magnite Blade. He would just absolutely obliterate your forehead. Your forehead would go into orbit, So I don't think anyone would deny Clinch deserves to be in S tier. But again, I need my fellow Xbox EU players to do Clinch and all the other players here some justice, because I can't speak forever about these players. Legos. Again, very hard not to put him in S plus. The only reason that I am not putting him in S plus is simply because in the last 1 or 2 years, he became very casual and he started as Zerg. The skill that he has is still there, but if this was 1 or 2 years ago, he'd be S plus easily. Played every single class to a high degree. I've actually 2VX'd with him. He actually has some of the most outrageous 1VX clips I have ever seen in my entire ESO fucking career. Like, I should actually ask him to send me them. And I should post them on my YouTube channel. Legos actually can do PvE to like literally the highest level as well. In all honesty, he should be S plus, but as in he started to Zerg. Legos, what you doing? But he became casual. So, but again, it's not a matter of skill. He still has the skill. Absolutely phenomenal player. And I hope you're doing okay, mate. Kamura Yoko. This guy was that I would probably say underneath. I would say he was the second most dominant Stam DK on Xbox EU, just underneath Dragon Sergeant. I've actually 2VX with Kamura Yoko. There's some players that I'm not going to mention, but were considered like S plus back in the day, and me and Kamura Yoko actually 2VX'd them. So if Kamura Yoko was more consistent, he would be S plus without a doubt. He is still playing actually, and I won't. He's on PC, and he's not as good as what he used to be, but do not underestimate him. He will still smash your head in. But for a long time, Kamura Yoko was a Stam DK to be absolutely feed. I think maybe at one point he went a little bit past Dragon Sergeant, but Dragon Sergeant was just weird. He was really consistent. Plus he dueled a lot more Dragon Sergeant, but Kamura Yoko, no denying he is one of the greats of Xbox EU. A man to be fucking feared. A man not to be crossed. Also got some fat clips with him, so you should make a Stam DK on PC, mate, and go back. Please do, because I'd like to see how you would do on it now. Virtual ESO. If this list was now in the last, I would say 4 years or something, Virtual would be in S plus. Again, this is not about skill. This is about consistency. I've actually said this to him. In the last 3 years or something, Virtual has become a player not to be fucking underestimated. There's nothing that he can't do, basically, and I want to play with him. I am sure that me and him will absolutely smash fuck out of entire Zergs if he just came to AD, but he is hell-bent on stopping DC. At the end of the day, I've physically spoken to him and went, you are now like you are phenomenal. So, but what also makes him very good is the fact that he's actually came to PC and he's actually fucking been smashing, at low CP. And he's also been, no offense to his friends, but his friends are not as good as him, and he's been he's got a backpack, he's got a mountain on his shoulders, in 2v2s, but his friends are still good players, but they're not virtual ESO level. Virtual ESO has now become a very, very good player, and I could say more about Virtual, But I'm just going to link his YouTube channel down in the description below, and I'm going to let his clip speak for himself. Absolutely phenomenal player, and well done, because it's not easy to be very consistent. I think maybe give it another year. You'll be here. You'll be here. So very well done, Virtual. You deserve the subscribers that you're getting on YouTube. Like I said, come AD as well. I'll play with you. Also a phenomenal duelist. Phantom Rogue. Him and Wolverine back in the day used to have a great rivalry, and it was always between Wolverine and Phantom Rogue. I can't really Phantom. I saw him 1vx just every single day on his Nightblade. I would definitely say it was for the longest time it was between Wolverine was more consistent than Phantom, but in terms of peak level, I would say maybe they were on par, but Wolverine stood the test of time a little bit longer than Phantom, and it was always a great rivalry between them two. Again, when these two were at their peak, I never really saw much of it. I was doing my own thing, and I would like. All I know is that when I actually saw Phantom Rogues in Cyrodiil, when I got the popcorn out and I was watching him, he was easily S, and if he was consistent enough, he would be an S plus. But again, I want me fellow Xbox EU players to comment about Rogue to do him some more justice, because I can't do enough justice to any of these players here, because I don't have 24 hours to talk about them. Anyway, let's get on to A+. Blade. The reason that I am putting Blade in A+ is because I think definitely in the last 2 years on his Nightblade, he's become one of the best Stam Nightblades, no denying. In a duel specifically, he doesn't really do open world. I don't think he really likes it. I could be wrong, but there is no denying this guy rose through the ranks and started smashing people's foreheads clean off on that Nightblade. Again, I cannot speak I can't do Blade justice. Me words don't do Blade justice. If he was consistent, he could be an S plus. These are like interchangeable. But this is primarily people who stood the test of time for years. As I keep reiterating. But anyone on Xbox EU would now agree Blade deserves probably top Stam Nightblade, possibly. Phenomenal duelist. Can't speak of him highly enough. And please, again, fellow Xbox EU players, comment to shine some light on Blade to show how good he is. Raza. Let's get on to Raza. Actually played with Trims. The reason that I'm putting Raza in A+ is because Trims was more consistent and did more. And Raza, he just wasn't as consistent as other players, However, that time when Warden was absolutely ridiculously powerful, he was S plus. But he never really. He used to do outstanding things, but not consistently, If he was a little bit more consistent, and he absolutely fucking loved to abuse carry sets as well. But I could be completely wrong. But I saw the players in front of him do more, which is why I'm placing him in S plus, A plus. Sorry. Sietsu. I know this is a consistency list, But the reason that I'm placing Sietsu, even though nearly every player hates him, because he's very toxic, is because simply I know for a fact that if he was in any other patch, he would still do very well. I will say, he is not good in open world, but as a duelist, this guy I would wager would fucking he could beat nearly he could beat these players could beat anyone on ESO, and Sietsu could. Which is why I'm placing him in A plus. If Sietsu was as good as what he is in a duel, but open world, he would be, and if he was consistent, he'd be an S plus. Um, as a duelist, like 4K he came back and started smashing people's heads in. I mean, what more can you say? Like, I have to put him in A plus. If he was good in open world, I'd put him in S, but he's not. So A plus. But the fact that I'm putting him in I'm putting him in A plus just because of how good he is in a duel, speaks volumes at how good he is in a duel. Um, um, Again, he is very toxic, and normally there's a lot of bias in a tier list video, but I physically can't deny how good this guy is in a duel. So, well done, Sietsu. I'll also link your channel in the description below, because you have won 2 duel and tourneys, I think, which does deserve some recognition. So well done there. F-Dog, he he used to play every single class to a high degree. He also, back in the day, was the biggest streamer, bigger than Zidane actually. F-Dog was the biggest YouTuber on Xbox EU. But he quit. He quit the game, and it's a shame because he was so good. I actually started playing with him on PC, and he quit again. It's such a shame, you know. Um, all I know is that he was a phenomenal player for a long time, and not a man to be messed with. But again, Xbox EU players, please do F-Dog some justice by commenting. Grimmy, there's a lot that I need to say about Grimmy, and that's a thank you. Because when I first started playing ESO, Grimmy actually took me under his wing and made me into the player that I am today. He actually went, stop Zergen, join our guild. We had a few duel and tourneys, back then, and it actually made me a great player. It made me the player who I am today, and if it wasn't for him, I'd still be a mere Zerglin. And back in the day, Grimmy was also a phenomenal Mag DK. I actually went on his Xbox profile a while ago, and I saw some great 1vx's on that fucking Mag DK. And he actually has stood the test of time of being a good player. He's a very, very solid player. But the main reason that I'm putting him in S plus, A plus, is because I have never seen a greater necro bomber in my entire life. I'm gonna link his channel down below. He deserves a lot more subs. That he, in my opinion, is the greatest necro bomber to grace ESO. I know it's very niche, but he was doing it when he's been doing it for the longest time, and no one does it on necro anymore. But even after the nerf to necro and all of its bombing capability, he's still doing it. So please check Grimmy out. If you want to check out the best necro bomber to grace ESO, you need to check Grimmy out. And a massive thank you to Grimmy for teaching me how not to be a Zergling, and actually physically teaching me to play by myself in a small group as well back in the day, and taking you under your wing. Um, and if you ever come to PC, I will physically sort you out with some gold for teaching me the ways of not being a Zergling. And also, at any point in time you want to send us a message or join Discord call, don't hesitate. It's been a while since I've speaking to you. MZP. He used to run with Cam Yurioko, is actually on PC now. All round great player. Used to smash people's heads in. The only reason that he's not in S is because of just consistency. He for a while he was very good. I mean, like, he was like S plus very good, but he didn't really stand the test of time in terms of what these players did. But he is no slouch, and if you're not at top form, he will blow your head off. He will blow your head off. So, but back in the day, he was very good. But again, I want my Xbox EU players to do him some justice by commenting. Mazzy, I don't actually know a lot about Mazzy other than the tales that I've heard. I can't really say much. All I know is that he apparently has done very well on Xbox EU and has now went to Xbox NA and he's doing very well. So multiple servers there, which also goes for you. It's not easy going to different servers and doing well. Take it from me, it's not. But again, Mazzy, if you want to comment on this, please do voice your opinion. You know, like, I don't know that much. All I know is that I've seen like 1 or 2 clips and you look very good. But I seriously need other players to do you some justice, because I've heard tales that you're very good. Peerlist. A very good up and coming Mag DK. I've actually played with him all round, extremely solid. He has went Xbox NA, doing extremely well. You know, I have no doubt if he continues down the path that he's going, he will be recognised as like one of the best. No doubt in my mind. Again, this is a consistency list for Xbox EU, and Peerless hasn't. He's more of an up-and-coming player, you know, but he is very good. Continue down the path that you're going, mate, and you will be recognised as like one of the best. Well done, mate. Like, and also please come to PC. You do very well there as well. Missar. Watched his YouTube. I'm gonna link Missar's YouTube channel down below as well. Also, he has been on Xbox EU for a while, but it's only in the last few years where he started to get a lot better. If he was as good as what he is now, but years and years ago, he would be definitely in this category. Again, I'm going to let his YouTube channel speak for himself and other players, because I don't think my opinion does these players justice at all. So, but I do enjoy watching your clips. I've actually watched a few of them. You're a very, very good player. So, if you actually ever come to PC, more than willing to play with you. Llama. Again, this temp, I would say arguably Llama was the best Templar for a while. Um, but he wasn't as consistent as what I would have liked him to be. Again, this is not a matter of skill. This is just a matter of consistency. I don't think he was that bothered about ESO. I could be completely wrong, but I highly rate Llama. You know, like he was really good on his temp. Um, and he was no slouch in a duel. He could kill anybody on a duel. You know, anybody. But I would like. Again, my opinion doesn't do him justice. And I want people to. It's a shame that he doesn't really have a really successful YouTube channel. I don't know if he has one. If he does, I'm more than happy to link it. You know, it's hard to actually speak about these players because they don't really they weren't bothered about like having a YouTube channel. Spectre, more of an up and coming player, especially in the last like year or so. He has become a player not to be messed with. He has been receding hairlines in the last year or so in a 1v1. And I think open world he has continued to be a lot better. Great player. If he continues down the path that he's going, he will also become a very, very, very solid, good player. You know. Also, make a YouTube channel, pal. From me, make a YouTube channel because you will be recognised. Especially now, you have the skill to do it. So please do it, mate. Also, if you need a hand on PC, because I know you're there, don't give us a shout. Brilliant player. Garrus, actually playing with him on PC. Never played with him on Xbox EU, but he always did well. He always did well. Funny enough, I think he's doing now better on PC than he is on Xbox EU. I could be wrong though. But he was always solid on any class that he played. No slouch by any means. If he catches you off guard, he will kill you. He will kill you. Got a few good X's over the years. Definitely A+. And like I said, you know, but not by any means are these players. These players like are absolutely phenomenal. These players, you know, I can't do them justice. Liam Kidd, actually on PCU now. For a long time, he was a very solid player. Got a few good X's over the years, you know, very solid. I actually don't know what your main is. You played all sorts of classes, I think. Were you a warden? I'm not sure, but definitely deserves the A+ category. A lot more I could say, but again, I don't want this video to be too long. Also, make a YouTube channel. Rugi. Again, if this player was more consistent, he'd be up here. Rugi was a very, very good player. He's actually on Xbox NA now, which also goes for him on 2 servers, done very well. I think his friends can speak more about him, but my opinion doesn't do how good of a player he is justice. All I know is that he is not somebody that you want to be on the wrong side of. Any of these players really. And he was a good player for a while. On Xbox EU. Could be interchangeable within this category. Burke. Again, He was actually, Burke, you've actually reminded me to put this in here. Where is it? I don't know how you spell it. Apaches, that's it, yeah. You've actually reminded me to do this, Burke, because you were on every single class, mate. You were very, very solid, very solid. But you, not he didn't really X as much as some of these players. But if he did, he would definitely be in this category. He was more interested in becoming a leader of probably one of the best ball groups to ever grace ESO, actually, um, in Apaches. I'll speak about Apaches a little bit later, but thank you for reminding me, mate. You led Apaches to do greatness. You know, you did some phenomenal things on that, so very well done. Again, my opinion will not do you justice, and I would like players to comment about Burke. Now on to A tier. These players are very good, but they just weren't. They were either using ridiculous carry, or they just didn't play enough to warrant A plus. Sam's that temp was nasty, bro. Like always a solid temp. Always a solid temp. I really wish he played more because he could easily be up here, but he never did. He could kill anybody in a 1v1. He was nasty. He got a few good X's over the years on Xbox EU as well, so very well done. Please comment about Sam's as well down below to do him justice. Canoxus. I don't think he likes me very much, but I do not have a problem with him at all. He is probably the most well-known guy on Xbox EU in terms of being toxic. But normally people would be biased towards a player like that, but I won't be. The only reason that Canoxus is not in this category is because the carry that he unfolds upon every single class he plays is the biggest I've ever seen. Right? He will do anything in his power to have optimal performance. Like he will run the fattest carry. But anything that he has ever played, he has been very good at. I cannot deny. And he's also been a good duelist as well. I also feel like he just doesn't give a shit, about ESO. I think if he did really put his mind to it, wasn't toxic, decided to slap off the carry, decided to dig deep, he could be in here, He could be in here, but he never did, and I think he's on there just to enjoy what he's doing, which is fair enough. It's a game. But I cannot deny that he is very good. I cannot deny. So he does definitely deserve A tier. Sky was also a very good player. He's actually called Sura now. The only reason that he's not higher in the list is because he's more of an up-and-coming player. I want his friends to speak more justice about. I'll also link your channel down below. I'll let your YouTube channel do yourself justice. Yoxu, more of an up-and-coming player. I want all my fellow Xbox EU players to do very well, so I will let your YouTube channel speak for itself, basically, and I'll link it down below in the description. Again, I want your friends to talk about you in the comments, because I cannot do you justice. Just like any player on this list, I cannot do you justice. I don't have enough time, or I don't have the knowledge. All I know is what I've seen, to go off. Trellis and Scalise. Uh, the reason that they're not higher is because they're literally just brand new to Xbox EU, basically. But they have done well in the time that they've been here. And I could have placed you higher, but there's the basically there's, and I'm not trying to be toxic. It's just, well, there was I really don't want to be toxic, but there was a clip that I saw, and basically, I know people that you can lag, you might not be on your best class, but there was a clip in ESO EU, and you couldn't deny, it didn't look good for you when you play together, but everyone dies at some point, so I might just be being very, very harsh. I could be, but when you're on point, you two are very good players, and the reason that you're not higher on the list is because you're just relatively new to Xbox EU, and I think if you continue down the path as you are now, you'll be a lot higher. Mantis, Nightblade main. My opinion will not do him justice, really. I don't know that much about him. I've seen him a few times in Xbox EU Cyrodiil before I left that server, and he did do very well. I would say he's definitely more of an up-and-coming player to be recognised. If he has a YouTube channel, and if you're listening, please give me the link, and I'll link you down below so you can be more recognised. Also, you can tell mechanically on his Nightblade, he is very good. Especially open world, knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, very good player. DC Achilles, he's actually been an all-round solid player for years. He never really used to X, to be fair, as far as I'm aware. But he was not somebody that you messed like if you were not at your if you weren't concentrating, he would kill you, and he was more than capable of doing bits in Cyrodiil, I can't do him justice again. I'm just picking names that I thought was that did well on Xbox EU. Again, I only really know to the highest degree these players. I don't some of these. So my opinion doesn't do people justice. But if you come to PC, DC, I'd be more than willing to play with you. And there is so many more players that could fit in this category. But I don't have it all day to speak about them. But if there's other players that people know about, please comment. And now onto B tier. These players, by any means, they're not bad players. They're not. They are definitely, they're no slouches. I just felt as if they didn't really do. They didn't do what these players did, basically. They could quite easily. They can hold their own in open world. They can maybe get a 1vx every now and then. Or even duel and do well in a duel. These players are not bad players. That's not what I'm saying. B is a very, very solid player. But I look for a lot more than that to be higher, basically. And for a long time, these players have been consistently solid. Consistently, So this is why I'm placing them in B. Hawkwind, we used to play with Marcus, I think. Fallacian did. Circlo did. I can't do you justice. I'll let other people do you justice. Lord Diesel was actually no slouch in a 1v1 either. He ran so much damage. He could easily get you. No slouch. Knew what he was doing. I will speak about Cajun though. One. The reason that I'm placing him in B, and people might disagree, is because even though that he was a Zerg leader, he could actually pull off like a 1vx in a blue, like once in a blue moon. I've actually physically seen it, and he's actually killed some players 1v1, some good players 1v1, which is why I'm saying that B is no, you're not a slouch. It's just that you're not as consistent as these players. Um, I'll speak more about Cajun when it comes to Zerg leaders. Jingles, solid player, absolutely solid, no slouch. If you're not on point, he will get you. He will get you. I think he's got like one or two 1vx's. Absolutely no slouch. Also, he's probably you he could possibly be higher than B plus basically. Jingles, I think Jingles is decent. Um, I have no doubt he'll comment on the video with a long paragraph. But he's casual. He's very casual on the game. And for being a casual player who just likes to do what he needs to do on the game, troll people, chat a lot of shit, he's it's impressive. So well done, Jingles. Dixie, I Dixie in certain patches was very good. You could argue in terms of peak performance, he was like A plus. Um, but he wasn't very consistent on Xbox EU. He did go to Xbox NA, and apparently people said that he was like absolutely phenomenal. But I think a lot of people would agree that Dixie was he was good, but he wasn't like like top by any means. No slouch though. He could easily kill players here in 1v1. Um, and this is an Xbox EU consistency list. He did better on Xbox NA. So if it was an Xbox NA tier list, you could put him somewhere. I don't know. Sec Pixel Killer, just solid, just really solid player. I think he got a few 1vx's. Basically, these players are the few 1vx players, who can stand and hold their own. This is basically it. Wislow is not really a 1vxer, but he is some of the clips that he has some outrageous clips like DK ganks, like DK bombs, which is why I'm putting him in B. I would like him actually to send me his clips so I can post it on my channel to do him justice. I've never seen anything like it in my entire ESO career, mate. So well done. Please send me the clips if you're listening. That's why you're in B, because you didn't really do anything else outside that. You weren't bad, but those clips that you've got's outrageous. Those DK leaps, mad. Myth Nobody, more of an up and coming player. Don't actually know that much about him. I would like his friends to speak more about him in the comment section. But from the small time that I knew him on Xbox EU, he was always solid. Always a solid player. And I think he could definitely be a good one of the extra in the future. And on to the next category. I am completely missing out category C. There is so many players on Xbox EU that categorise in the C department. And there's so many players that are in this department as well, but I can't name them all. But Xbox EU has a lot of C players. And the way I would describe a C player is someone that maybe could get like a 1v3 once every like 2 year or something, or like or 3 year. They can get lucky and get something. They're like they know the core basics of ESO, and if they were fighting players who don't know what they're doing, they could easily kill them. You know what I mean? That's a C tier player in my opinion, and there's a lot of those players on Xbox EU, which makes this server incredibly hard to 1vx on, because most of the time 1vx's you're fighting brain dead people, um, and Xbox EU was filled with players who know the core mechanics of PvP, and I'm not going into that list. But if anyone from Xbox EU wants to put them in category C, please do in the comment section. Category D. These players were at one point or another 1vx victims, or still are. But they are not the typical 1vx victims. They actually, they can actually. They're no kind of PvP, but they're not good. They're not good. You can easily overpower these players. Basically, if you were on point, you could easily 1vx any of these players here. Some of them harder than others, mind. This is not in any list, because I felt as if some of these players, they were organised, especially in the group that they used to play with, but they were ultimately they got 1vx'd or 2vx'd, in the end. And there's a lot more players in this category. This category is you have to work very hard to get the 1vx, basically, or the 2vx. This is D category. Easy mode. What I'm basically mean with easy mode is the players who basically enter Cyrodiil and they have absolutely no idea what they are doing. It's a free kill. Like, these are the ultimate. Basically, if you are in a 1vx situation, these are the players that you want to be fighting. Basically, everyone from Xbox EU knows these players. Xbox EU now, since the population is so low, has lost nearly all of its easy mode 1vx victims, and it makes the server incredibly difficult to 1vx on now, and no one from Xbox EU would disagree with that statement. It's full of people who know what they're doing now, so if you can still 1vx on Xbox EU, you're doing very well. It doesn't have the players like it used to 1vx. Zerg leaders. These players, although genuinely hated me, besides occasion like me, these players hated my guts for so many years. But even though that we had a great rivalry in Cyrodiil for all those years, and I used to obliterate you, basically. But sometimes in certain patches there was a back and forth between your Zerg, your groups, and me, or Shocks, and I want to say thank you to you all, basically the Zerg leaders. I want to say thank you, because you allowed me to get some great. You made me a better player, basically, and you made me enjoy ESO so much. It was a great rivalry between us and the Zerg between me and like the other players. And the Zerg ladies, like, there was a great rivalry between us, they actually used to message me often saying cheater, etc., etc. But it was always like kind of in jest, you know. And I want to say thank you for providing me such a great ESO experience on Xbox EU. Um, and if I do return, um, I'll be coming for you. I'll be coming for you. So be prepared if I ever do return. But thank you very much for being there on Xbox EU and providing such a great time for me. And I enjoyed the rivalry. Never really had a rival with Cajun because I nearly always played EP and he was. Cajun was definitely the best Zerg leader on Xbox EU, and I genuinely do think even the ball groups on PC, which are absolutely phenomenal, would really struggle even getting anywhere near Cajun Zerg. He would organise them so well to counter the ball group. I can't speak about Cajun that highly. He he could 1vx, you know, like he that's and he could organise his Zerg very well. I will mention though, a few times where he had to run away from us. Him and a Zerg, he had to run away, but not often, not often. Um, and then I'm gonna go to the old OGs. I cannot speak highly enough about these players. Every single one of these players were the best at their respective class at one point in the game. I cannot speak highly enough about these players, and I can't go too much in depth. But the OGs of Xbox EU, please comment down below about how good these players were. The ones that I can speak about were definitely Immortan John. He used to play with Shocks back in the day, and he actually taught me how to Magsork. So I owe him a great thank you. Once Grimmy learned me the ways of not being a Zerglin, I wanted to be a good Magsork, and I took it upon myself to actually ask John to help me with Magsork, because he was definitely in my opinion, the best Magsork back in the day, to teach me. And I owe that guy a great deal of debt. And I actually messaged him a few years ago to come back to ESO so we could play together. Shame that he never did, but and I'll also speak about SSG Slow and SSG Kyle. They're actually back in the day, man. These players used to smash every cunt, every single player. Kyle on that Stam Nightblade, man. Like nasty fucking Nightblade. Like if he was as good as what he was back then, but now he would be S plus, S easy. And it's the same for Slow on all of his other classes. I actually never saw how good his Sork was back in the day, unfortunately. But all I know is that when I saw him play in Cyrodiil, he used to smash fuck. He used to 1vx, 2vx fucking duel. You know, no slouch by any means. And I actually do really want to play with Slow on PC, to be fair. I think he would be in this category. Probably S plus, because he stood the test of time. He's now on PC. The only reason that he's not S plus on Xbox EU is because he quit Xbox EU, basically, and it's the same for Kyle. And I don't think any single player on the server would disagree with that. Can't speak highly enough about these two boys. RG Psych apparently was phenomenal. Never saw him, but he was an old OG. Apparently the best Stam Nightblade to grace ESO, according to some people. I don't know. I want people to comment about him. Calvin, funny guy. Actually, when I was up and coming, he used to message me for 1v1s all the time. And I wasn't even that good back then, but I was up and coming. Funny guy. I hope he actually sees the video and gets in touch, because I want to know how he's doing. Unholy Mango. I I know back in the day he was fantastic. Again, my opinion can't do him justice. I need other players to actually speak about him. All I know is that he was a phenomenal player. Hell Pearl. Also, I know you're on PC, I think. So if you ever want to play it together, please don't hesitate. If you were on Xbox EU, you would be in this category because you have stood the test of time. But you haven't been on Xbox EU for a long time, so I can't place you here. I can only place you in the OGs. Hell Pearl, probably everyone used to be shit scared of dueling this guy. I never actually dueled him, unfortunately. I wish I could. But apparently he was the best duelist back in the day. Other people might disagree. I don't know. But I'll give him some recognition because people do talk about him. Master Dubsy, I see. Phenomenal player on every class that he played. Azabane was probably the best Stam DK at the time, back in the OG days. He still plays today. If he's probably B now, but he doesn't give a shit about the game. But he was a phenomenal Stam DK back in the day. Got to give him recognition. TGS Echo, also a phenomenal Stam DK back in the day. Used to play with Legos actually. Phenomenal player. Stonesy, arguably on par with Immortal John to being the best Magsork back in the day. I actually messaged him when I was up and coming to see why he was doing certain things, and he gives some good advice. So thank you to Stonesy. Coco. The only reason that I know about this guy is due to Shocks. I don't know. Apparently he used to be the Magsork back in the day, but I don't know. I'll give him some recognition. Scraps apparently was the best player on every class when the game came out. I don't know how true that was. All I know is that when he came back like 3 years ago, in about fucking 2 days he got a 1vx just by javelining people off a bridge. So, which was funny to watch. So if that doesn't say anything, I don't know what does. MLG Otter. I'm going to actually place MLG Otter, Hindmarsh, Venom ZF, and Andy, because Andy is an OG, in the same category. And I don't mind admitting this. When I first started Xbox EU, them guys, and there was a few other, used to play in probably the best group, coordinated group. It wasn't really a ball group, but it was like a coordinated group that used to play in 1vx builds back in the day. They were the best group, hands down, I have ever seen in my entire life that did that. They used to hold keeps for like a full 24 hours. Back in the day. They were the group on Xbox EU back in the day that could take on 2 alliances at once, just 5 of them. I've never seen anything like that repeated ever, so and when I first started playing ESO, I don't mind admitting this, they, including Andy, they used to farm me back then. They used to. I was part of the fucking death toll and the clips that they used to get. And plus, not just that, these players could actually 1vx as well back in the day. I think Hindmarsh back in the day was the best Stam Sork, and I think Andy was the best Stam DK. So yeah, Venom ZF, very unique. Mag DK, not as good as Shocks, but he used to play with Proxy Debt, I think, and he used to 1vx quite a bit. Very good DK. Jaden probably is the best Mag 10 back in the day. I've seen, according to people. Browntown, apparently also a phenomenal Stam DK. Can't say much about him, to be fair. Silver Badger, I actually watched this guy. I think at his peak, he was probably the best Magnite blade on. Was he? Maybe I think at his peak, just maybe for a little while, his peak surpassed Clinch's. Maybe for like a few patches, but I think Clinch was a lot more consistent on his Magnite blade. I could be completely wrong though. But Silver Badger went on that Magnite blade, man. Poof, hairlines will be removed. Zerg's used to suffer fighting this guy. Uh, High Fly PM used to play with Shocks back in the day. The only reason that I'm putting him on the list is because of what Shock said about him, and I value Shock's opinion because he knows what a top tier player is. He said that High Fly PM was one of the best players he's ever played with, period. If Shocks ever wants to comment about how good he was, please do, mate, because I can't do him justice. Palfrey back in the day actually used to run with Shocks as well. Shock said mechanically outstanding Nightblade. I can't do him justice. And UL Ariziel. You know what it is? I could put UL Ariziel in one of these categories. Actually, he played for a lot longer, but I'll put him in the OG category. And for a long time, I would definitely say in one of these two. Absolutely phenomenal player. Could smash your head in as well in a 1v1. Not someone that you want to mess with. And don't get us wrong, there's so many more players that I could mention here. So many more. Especially the OGs. There's so many more, and I want people to comment down below more OGs because there was just so many. But I want to go into the ball groups. I've touched upon Origins. They weren't really a ball group, but I'll mention them. Nernhorn. Nernhorn was. I think they actually did have a YouTube channel. Nernhorn was the original Xbox EU ball group. And I still think to this day, if they were about, they would go on any server and smash. I have never seen what these have done repeated, basically. I just haven't. I can't speak enough highly about them. And I know Marv, he's on PC now. He doesn't really ball group anymore, but if he sees the video, please comment about how good Nernhorn was back in the day. You played with him, mate, and you used to hold keeps for days and days. You and your group, so well done. Origins, like I touched on before, Andy, Hindmarsh, MLG Otter, Venom ZF, all those, you know. The best 1vx group, like 1vx build group I have ever seen in my entire life. If they were around today, I have no doubt they would still do exactly the same. The players in there were phenomenal. And Apaches. I don't think they did what Nernhorn did, but the counter argument is, I think Apaches did it in harder patches. So, but I could be completely wrong. I mean, I think if Burke wants to have some opinion on this, by all means. You can't deny Apaches was one of the true greatest ball groups to play on ESO, personally. And I do think Apaches did it in the harder stages of ESO in comparison to Nernhorn. But these groups here were the groups to watch out of in the history of ESO. And I want people to comment down below to do it justice. But there's my Xbox EU tier list. For of all time, basically. There's so many more players I could mention, and if you're not on this list, please do not take offence. There's just so many players, you know. And if you have an opinion, please voice it, because my opinion is not entirely accurate. I find that playing with a player is more accurate than actually seeing a clip, you know. This is why I like to play with different players. This is why I've 2vx'd with so many different players, because I want to see how good they are. And please don't hesitate to message us to 2vx. Please do not hesitate. But basically, all of these players in all of these categories are great players, and depending on the patch, they could be at S tier easy, you know, at certain patches. And well done to everyone on Xbox EU. I do genuinely think some of the best players to grace ESO do come from this server. And it's criminal that they're not recognised. I do understand that Xbox EU do not post clips, and I understand why the community don't know who they are. But this is not for me to get views, and this is not for me to say to say, oh, my friends are really good. They are. This is basically for the entirety of Xbox EU to be recognised within the community, because every single player that I've played with, every single player that I've named, are all great players, and it doesn't matter which server you go on, you will smash heads. I think the average quality on Xbox EU is higher, personally, because of the low population now, especially. On average, it's and the players that have went over to PC from Xbox EU have also done very, very well. And I have no doubt that if some of these S plus tier players or S tier players came, it'd be exactly the same. So well done to everybody on Xbox EU, and I may return one day. But again, this video is for you. This is for you to be recognised, and I want people to comment and talk about different players on the server, because no one in any other tier list has been talking about you, and this is for you, lads, and lasses. So please comment down below with other players. And for the S plus and any other, especially the S plus and the S players, if you have any clips, right, to prove your rank, I will gladly post it on my channel to prove that you deserve that rank. Okay, because I know you have clips. I know you have clips. Maybe not you, Shark. Maybe not you, as you should though. But if I don't get sent any, I'm gonna message you and say I'm taking some, because I need to show the community how good these players fucking were. But I will get your permission first. Because at the end of the day, they're your clips, you own them. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video and enjoyed my opinion on this tier list. And I will catch you in the next one.